everyone. What's your scenes? How you going? So today I am going to, for the very first time, record an episode of Keyona Speaks from my actual computer. So let's open up the handy dandy crate of topics and see what I want to talk about. The why. Finding passion in living. So let's see what we can produce with that. When Keyona speaks, the healing starts. No herbalist, but the words I spit will leave you in deep thought. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation. Keyona Speaks, the waviest podcast. Ain't no debating. What's up, everyone? What it do? What's he scenes? How you going? It's been a very long time since I've recorded an episode where I actually sounded upbeat. And ironically, internally, I don't feel upbeat. Today's episode is going to be about the why. Finding passion in living. You know, many of us growing up were pretty much given a strategy book or a path that we were told to follow, and it would give us fulfillment and it would bring us joy. And many of us have been able to follow that strategy book or that path to a T and have found that joy and that passion. Then there are others of us who have striven to do so, had some trials and tribulations in between, and didn't necessarily get to the destination in the timely fashion that we thought we would. And then there are those of us who didn't. We were not equipped with a strategy book. We were not equipped with a path to follow, and we had to figure things out the hard way. But the hard way wasn't just and a means to destroy us. It was a means to rectify us and to strengthen us and give us that integrity that many of us on the other paths didn't have, that got us to our destination. And like I say in all my episodes, we will never truly arrive because our human experience is a journey for real. So currently in my life, knowing the why and discovering the passion and living is so crucial and so important to me. Why? Because I realize the older that I get, that life is truly short. I realize that time can be a blessing or it can be a curse depending on how you use it. And I realize that, I just want to feel fulfilled in everything that I do, from working to relationships to even how I feel when I'm in my alone time. And, I followed the path that my family gave me, but the timetables just did not match up for me. Because like everyone, our paths are very unique. Our struggles, our triumphs are very unique. And so although I pursued higher education, got my degree, the other things that were supposed to follow didn't happen because it was not destined for me. Not to say that I'm struggling, but I am figuring out that what I went to school for may not be what's actually giving me fulfillment. So I had to ask myself, what is it that I love? What makes me feel alive? What makes my heart thump? What do I feel energizes me? And the more that I explore those things, the more I realize that I am not living according to my true purpose. The strategy book that I was given from my beloved ancestors does not work for me because it is not in alignment with what the Most High has given me of purpose, and also what just makes me feel fulfilled in my own human experience. So you're a part of this journey. You listening to Keyona Speaks, you are part of this journey of the why. Because by you listening to this podcast, you are fulfilling my why. My why is to share my thoughts, share my experiences in a way that helps me to grow, helps me to learn about myself, but also feel like I'm not alone because I know that I'm not. And if you are on the same path, you're not alone. We're in this together. This is our globalized healing self-discovery journey. So what did I do to kind of like tap into my why? I took out a sheet of paper and I wrote down the things I like and the things I don't like. On a corporate setting and relationships and just overall in life. What do I like and what do I not like? I reflected on the skill sets that I've always had that people would come to me for. Not to say that I'm trying to be an entrepreneur in a sense and try to solicit and sell things, but you know what strengths you have, what skills you have that people know you for. And you have to take advantage of those things. And you have to ask yourself, is this part of my purpose? And so public speaking, relationship building, advice giving, being able to share multiple perspectives when giving advice to people have always been strengths that I've had from a child. And I'm now approaching 30 and realizing like, man, I've been sleeping on myself. This is what keeps me up at night, trying to figure out how I can help people. This is what keeps me going when I create a podcast episode or I create a video for YouTube or I end a conversation with someone and I realize that they've left that conversation feeling like they have more clarity, feeling like they were better than how they felt when they started the conversation. That is my why. But that's not where the buck stops. Knowing your why is the beginning of the process of living a fulfilled and purposeful life. We weren't meant to just live in survival mode. We weren't meant to just live within the societal time frame. No, we're not all the same. And so although it's a blessing to have employment, it's a blessing to have finances to be able to survive, life is much deeper than that. And who wants to be someone at the end stages of their life looking back on their youth and feeling regret? None of us do. We always ask the elderly, what tips do you have to live a fulfilling life? And they'll tell you to not live with regret, to seize the day, carpe diem. And I don't know about you, but for me, taking risk was definitely something that I never thought that I would be so easily into. And it's a muscle that I'm honing. It's a muscle that I'm strengthening to be able to take a risk. Like I've told some people in my life, doing Keyona Speaks has definitely been a risk. To put myself out there in the World Wide Web to share my thoughts, knowing that when you put something out in the World Wide Web, you open yourself up to people's criticism. You open yourself up to people's feedback. And I know one day I will say something that will rouse some feathers and someone will let me know about it. But currently I haven't gotten any feedback that has deterred me. But another thing that just popped in my head is it's important to find the value for yourself in your why. Not everybody is going to agree with your why. Not everybody is going to understand your why. So you have to go deep within, confirm yourself, affirm yourself, validate yourself. Because if you do like I did, start this podcast, start producing content, and look to your neighbor to give you an A+ or a B+, then you'll know, and they don't do it, you don't get the feedback that you're looking for, your validation, your value is going to be inconsistent. So you have to validate yourself from the get-go. You have to know that you are the one living this experience. You're just sharing it with the world. I'm sharing my experience with you. You're sharing your experience with me. But at the end of the day, when we go into when we separate, we go to ourselves, we need to feel that what our purpose is, our passions is sufficient for us. That is the most important thing that I want you to understand when it comes to the why. And truthfully speaking, there's so much more that I could say about discovering your why, to know what you need to do or to know what it is that will give you a very fulfilling life. It's a part of the journey, and having those people that you can bounce your thoughts off of and having those people who see you in a way that you don't see yourself can really help spark your ideas as well. I'm very fortunate to have people in my life that see me in a way that I don't see myself, and they elevate me and they honor me, and I thank them and I give them their flowers as I should while they're living. This is a continued conversation, and I would love to have someone else on this podcast to explain to me how they discovered their why, or why it's so important to know your why as you traverse in this human experience. At the end of the day, I realized that tapping into my why, knowing what keeps me up at night, knowing what makes me feel alive, knowing what gives me pure, unadulterated joy, has helped me tap into areas where I needed to nurture and comfort myself. Keyona Speaks has healed, or has begun to heal, things about myself that like scars and wounds about myself from a child that I just left off to heal on its own. Now I'm refocusing on things because in order to progress with Keyona Speaks, I need to heal some things within myself, like confidence, validation, all those things that I need to possess within myself. So if you don't know your why, but you have an inkling to what your passions and interests are, do like I did. Take out that sheet of paper, write those things down that give you pure joy. Find someone that you trust and have a conversation with them. Bounce your ideas off with them and listen to what they have to say. Know the difference between advice and projection. So that's why I say find someone that you trust, because you don't want to just pour your heart out to just anybody, because they may project negativities and fears within their own selves onto you, and that could just set you back all over again. If you need to have a chat with me, reach out to me at Keyona Speaks on Instagram. Hit me up in the DM so we can have a conversation, because I want to be able to help you and be your sounding board so that you don't feel alone. So don't forget to tap into your why. Don't forget to tap into what your interests are. I hope that this helps you to propel into your life's journey, and I hope that you never sleep upon yourself again. Assalamu alaikum. Peace. Keyona Speaks.